Thank you for joining me for another Trail of the Green Man video. Today we're going to have a look at Sir Francis Bacon. You've probably seen a few of the videos about the website already, and he's quite a man of much interest. But the book we are going to look at is printed in 1633, which, as you know, would be after Francis Bacon's death. And the two books of Francis Bacon, of the Proficience and the Advancement of Learning, is actually this is the third version of it. I think it was printed in 1620 something. So this is not the first instalment or the first printing of it. But what is really interesting and why I chose this book, which I'll show you in a few minutes. But the front page is quite interesting, and although this takes a different kind of route to begin with, compared to what we've done before with structures and alignments and things like that, this tends to have a different flow. Although we have seen this type of thing in, I think, the Merry Devil of Edmonton. Again, you will find that on the website also, with Henry Neville being the proposed author, or that's what seems to come through. But for us, this publication seems to, it uses the same kind of methods of opinions and words, two words brought together or running backwards or something like that. And the first thing I kind of noticed here was we had this simple alignment of the word sail, and it doesn't really mean much, but underneath it we have this word main. I'll just zoom in for us. And so this to me immediately is something that seems perhaps we've got a chance that it's on purpose. And it took a little while to understand, but the clue was basically in the title. And it's here we have the advancement of learning. And this sail coming down to the word main is like the main sail. It's travelling us from the top of the page, bringing us further down the page. Advancement of our learning, and we learn something on the way down. We learn that it's an alignment, and we learn that we have this word main afterwards explaining what we're learning. I know that might seem a bit strange, but if we just try something here, and what I'm going to do is spell out a name. So I start with W, and then I move on to I. I'm going to try to spell William, and you must advance, just like the advancement of learning. So I'm going to have to look for the next letter, L. And here we have here of part of the word sail. So I'll just remove that sail in main, and we can see this. So then I'm after the next letter, which would be the I. Well, sorry, L for William. Then for the next letter would be the I. Then I'm going to look for the next letter, which would be the A. Again, always advancing. We can't go backwards. We need to advance down the page. And there we have it, A of Thomas. Then the next one is M to finish the word William. And we come through here. And it's right here at this M for mission. We actually land on this word mission of BF. And I don't think it's too hard a stretch of the imagination to put forward that this is actually Bacon Francis or Francis Bacon. William, mission of Francis Bacon or Bacon Francis, but there's more. So we've made it down to the bottom of the page. Now if I come and try this again at the top of the page to try to spell Shakespeare using the same rules, the S, so the next one is going to be advancing down the page for the H. There's no H until we hit here of the proficience. Then A. All the way down here for the K. That's us got shake. Then E for shake, S-H-A-K-E for shake. Then the S for university. And the P of permission. And then we've got the E next to the P. I'll just zoom in for us here. I'll just turn off that. And then E. And to finish it off, the final letter is the last letter on the entire page, which is the R. So from the bottom here, we can see S, P, then E, and then R for Shakespeare, and ending on the word spear, and possibility that we have the word fish here, because we have the main sail at the top, giving this idea that we're on the sea, and then we'd spear a fish, possibly. What we also can find here is, and I'll just get rid of this, is he. So that would be William Shakespeare, mission of Francis Bacon. He is Francis Bacon, or William Shakespeare, or mission Shakespeare. Francis Bacon is he. It's an interesting method to use, where you must advance down that page. But this is not the only reason why this book was interesting, because when we look through the page numbers, there is an error in the page numbering, and it is page, well, I'll explain. It goes 104, 105, 106, 107, 106. We have a duplicate of 106, and we know at this stage 106 being the age of Father Rosenkreutz, FRC, the head of the order. So having an error and given us a duplicate 106 was indeed very interesting. And that is where we're going to take a closer look to begin onto this page, using this idea of driving us forever onwards, downwards on the page, basically, to advance to receive our learning. So the first thing we're going to do is take a look at one of these 106s. And this one is just going to let us flow through the page and get an idea of what the kind of rules at play here is, because we do have a second 106 to take a look at. And the first thing you notice in this page, because I spend a lot of time, and sometimes these things pop up quite easy, and it's on the previous page, it's SU for supercilious. It's to know that you're better than somebody or something like that, and it's arrogancy. But as you can notice straight away, we've got an extra R added here, sheer supercilious arrogancy of it. They've not just put in an extra 106, they've put in an extra letter here. So it was quite obvious to me that something was going on here. And if we just continue on down the page, taking in little clues that we see something that's interesting, we can see here that this B is detached, basically. And what we have here is an explanation of B being touching, while, as we can see, this B is no longer part of that word, it's been separated. So these are the kind of things that help us understand what's going on. And then below that, we get wandering manner. And again, we can kind of apply that thought to this being touching, and it's not touching. It's got a wandering manner. It's moved away from its supposed position. So these are the little instructions we need to watch out for that help explain or help us move down this page. And if we look here, as this B is basically moving away, if we take a look here, you can see that this B and E are actually joined together, basically. There's no spacing between it. If you're to look at every example of the letter E, there's always this nice little spacing between that and the letter. But when we come here, you can see that it's been, in my mind, deliberately moved towards things. And this is why it's interesting to always have, or to your best of your ability, to try to get a second copy. So we do have a second copy of the book here. These are two same 1633 versions, but two different owners, basically. And that does have the two 106 errors. And just like we were talking before, we can have a close look at some of this. 106, 107, and back to 106 again, so you can clearly see the error there. And if I can show you here, we also have the additional R for the arrogancy of the error as well. So we can see that the B, again, it's not just like a one-off printing error, it's throughout, from what we can take a guess at, all the books, all the printing of it. And you can see this E here, it's crushed up against the B again, so it's always good to have this additional copy whenever possible to get a look at, to kind of make sure that these are not just like random print errors, but they are sustained throughout the whole of the print run. Okay. And to help us understand, we actually get BIND for bind, as in it's together, it's been bound together, this B and the E. And all this does is just allow us to move one more line down the page, basically, because here we have, under what we thought wandering manner was talking about the B wandering away from this word being. If we look underneath, we actually have the word river backwards, R-I-V-E-R for river, giving us a better understanding of what wandering manner, as in a river kind of like meanders. So it's interesting when you keep an eye out for stuff like this, because the next clue is always just underneath when it comes to this publication, because we have D, E, and the and sign, VON for Devon, and Devon is not just like a region in the UK, a south region or a southwesterly region in England. It's actually a river Devon, and we have here the river, the wandering manner of it. So all this is done just like the main sail on the front page. It's just allowing us to move down this page a little bit more. And when we come down, if we look on the other side, we see the word sordid. And sordid basically means dirty or filthy. Like not just I suppose a little dirty, I mean really dirty. It's yeah. And we have an acrostic of BATH for bath. And if you're sordid, you're really dirty, then you would have a nice bath, basically. And not only just a bath, you would have a nice bath and a trim. So again, we just have this acrostic or telestic of the River Devon, because of course you would be having your bath in the River Devon if you were filthy or sordid. It's interesting how it all just comes together to allow us to move down the page, just an extra paragraph. Now down here we have this highest instances that give the securest information, and I worked at this for a little bit of time before I realised it was just like rest information. And we've had this a little bit before, because we have this word rota, and rota can be where we get the word wheel from, but rota also means a schedule. So you would have like a schedule of when you could rest, hence this rest information. When is it my rota to use the bed or the hammock or something like that? Or when is it my rota to have a bath? You know, these kind of things might be due on a rotational basis or something like that. And this passageway is, or passage paragraph is talking about the stars, which could also be on a rota, something that's, here it says, cometh often to pass, and a rota being something that's a schedule that consistently repeats. So again, it's just bringing us further down the page. And as we get near to the bottom, we have this SEENE, and then a telestic of C, SEE, and EN, which would be the same, although acrostic form of seen, and it's the first in a family. And the first in the family here, it's given the expression man, wife, parent. So I'm linked to think here what's a parent? It's Father RC, because it's the first in the family, and he is the leader of the RC family, according to the legends in the Fama Fraternitatis or something like that. And a father would be the first in the family, and it's basically saying see or seen, and it's AGE for age. Have you seen his age? And it's seeing seen, as in 2 times. You see it, then you've seen it. I think they're talking about the error, or the error of the duplicate page of 106 here. So all this is just allowing us to get to the bottom of a page in order to find out that page 106 has been printed twice. It's actually quite sophisticated, really, and it's a surprise that when you start to have a closer look how much of this stuff is actually buried here. So this is the second example of 106, and what I'll just do is have a quick little look here to explain things, because it starts off straight away, basically. If we look here, things are foot. And obviously you think of this expression, especially like from Sherlock Holmes, but things are afoot. It's means there's a mystery at hand, and it is I'm not going to say a common term, but a term that would be used back in the time of like the 1600s. Things are afoot, and the thing is, it says, sorry. Yeah, it says here, if A. So it's quite a funny one, because it's things are, if A, that would give us things are afoot. So it's, if we use that A, things are afoot. So it's kind of like a precursor to telling you that there's a mystery happening here. Something's afoot. And the first thing you notice is you get STING, sting, and this comes through as a telestic using the last letter of each word. And beside it we have B, as in, and it's just to help you understand that it's using double E just for the word B, and nature beside that word, so heavily hinting at it's not just the English word bee, but it's literally a bee from nature, one with wings that flies around. It's actually quite a good start to the page, that you could come here and find the telestic that's basically given the information beside it in the same paragraph. It makes you believe that there's good reason to carry on. Now, a bee sting would be bad. So on the other side we have BAD, and again it's given us this advancement. We have to move down this page. Now things from here can get a little bit busy, but the next thing you notice is this word DINE for the word dine, as in to eat, to have a meal, to sit in a diner or something like that, to sit and have your food, basically. And what we have to explain it is contentment to the appetite. Because if you've got an appetite, you're hungry, you dine for the evening, and you have contentment of the appetite. You've basically been fed, you've taken on this food. And then it says, great weight. And if you just kind of look here, if I zoom in a little bit, because I believe these characters are totally manipulated, and if you look at great weight, you can kind of see this A is just sitting offset. It's as if it's some kind of heavy like fixture here. It just seems to give that impression that it's heavy, and when you look underneath it, you get this word sand. I'm not too sure if this has come up before in one of the other videos. I've got a feeling it has. Because sand is soft, it's giving you an impression that it can sink. You're moving down this page even more because the sand is allowing us to come down. But what exactly is it bringing us down to? Again, it's just small steps. This is all it does, allow us to move down the page. And we have this word 1 here, and it's lie upon. So that even though it's 1 lay upon, 1 lie upon, and if you look, we have EIN, and this EIN is German for 1. So we have this different language getting used here, and that's going to help us understand what's across here, because nigh, it could read nigh one way, meaning no, which is interesting, or in, meaning 1, if we read it the other way, and this says 1 lie upon, and it's lying upon EIN for in, for 1, so I tend to believe that the meaning here is 1. Then here, if you notice, we have TOV, which is U, same U and V, and then R, and that's an alignment of the word tour. Now that's very interesting, because if we come back to here, we have tour of truth. Now, it's interesting to think, because what kind of truth is going to come out here? And the tour, TOUR, takes us to the nearest location. That's the best that I can really come up with here at this point, that the tour is just taking us to the nearest spot, because indeed it's a location, it's the nearest location. But what we also have is, I'll just turn some of this off, TEN. Now the reason I'm saying 10 here is because in it's 1, and 1 lie upon, and it's 10, so I'm thinking 10, then it's given us 10. That's quite a good kind of like sum up of that area, because it's quite busy. Now we need to just keep in mind that all it's doing is just trying to move us to the bottom of the page. It's just like a flowing kind of movement. And on the other side, I noticed that we have, obviously we had bad here, because we had the bee sting was bad, and then we have here bon, or bon, or bon, the French for good. So we had bad, now we had good, and we have here is 1, bon, 1, or good 1, because at the other side we had 1 lie upon 1, and then it was 10. If we come across here, then we have TEN for the 10, again just similar, just like the other side, but now it's given us this word in French, and on that side it was German. So it's like I've just a verification, because if it's just yes, or 1, and then bon, good 1, as in it's just like a verification of the steps. But because it's now onto French, something becomes apparent with a little look. It's something common and familiar. And if we look here, if I get rid of this common and familiar, we have NOM, nom, which in French means name. And we've had this name here, it says nom 1 time, and then nom, and we're having a meal, we're dining. At the top of the page it was talking about dine, and then if you look here, it's good 1, but it could be ONIONS for onions, and then nom, as in you're eating those onions. But what I can safely say here, it's saying in French nom, and nom for name, because we have this HAM after it in an alignment for ham, and that could just be random, but just next to it in another alignment, bringing us further down, we have HOG for hog. 2 names, nom, the 2 names, ham, hog, they're common and familiar words, are synonyms of, well, ham and hog basically. And it brings us down to this beautiful line here, and art for it is no more. And if you look closely, you see how this S is basically no more. It's so faded, you can hardly tell that it's there. It just looks like a much smaller letter S. Now if we check the printing, 106, let me just check this. 107. Right. So we can just see that the S is the same. So this would be 106. There we go. Yeah, move this in. And this is a different copy of the book. You can see that the S is indeed very faint. It's as if it's hardly been inked at all, and it's left a much small impression of the letter S. And this is art, because it's a graphic, isn't it? This is why it's art, for it is no more, because it's really heavily faded. Now, that's 25 minutes. There is a lot that I haven't discussed on this page, and there's quite a lot that kind of combine the two pages together. So if you feel as though you can help out in any way, perhaps you would love to do this type of thing, come along and see us at the Trail of the Green Man Discord group. We could probably use your help because, to be honest, this is just fresh. This is so many routes of investigation, and if you think you can crack this or find some other stuff on this page that I've not discussed, come along, share it, and see if we can't get to the bottom of this. I'll see you there. Thanks for your time.